And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Victoria 3. We're beginning electrification here as the Great Qing. So as part of that, we're going to be... I'm skipping the first tier of electrification. Right, we're not going to do early power plants. We're going to jump straight to coal-fired power plants here with steam turbine. If I can get this... check what the PM is. So the PM here, we don't really care about the inputs. If we start having a problem with coal or engines, we'll sort of pause and sort of shove coal and engines in the start of the queue. Right now, we're going to be per power plant making 50 power. So I want to evaluate in terms of how many power plants I need to build per state. So one of the things we're going to do very early on is we're going to do electric rollers. This is one way to do electrification that gets us more tobacco. I don't think we have a lot of tobacco, so there shouldn't be a lot of these. So here, this will be 1/25th of an electric plant per tobacco plant. It's 1/25th. Because it's technically 2. So, for general rules, I think we can basically ignore the electric rollers. Yeah, they consume electricity, but other than make sure we've got an electric power plant there, we'll probably be good. Electric streetlights is 3. So, again, not a lot. So, the urban centers is... Although that math's a little weird, because 50 divided by 3... 10... 16? We'll say 16. 1/16th. Yeah. So 16 times 3 is 48. That's about right. Because it's 3. So, yeah, we're going to electrify the streetlights. Although that may be partially because we're going to be using a bunch of coal in the coal-fired plants, right? So, taking the coal out of the urban centers will be pretty nice. One of the big ones here that may generate decent returns is electric sawmills for our logging camps. We have a wood shortage. This is a way to make wood. Make more wood out of our finite amount of land. This is 5 per. So we need 1 per 10. Electrical capacitors. We probably don't need clothing right now, but we might as well improve our clothing productivity level, and then that can delay us to having to build more. This is 100, or for each one of these, it is 10. So for textile mills, it is 10. That's 1 per 5. And I'm currently taking notes, so I can do the math per region here. And then for the explosives factory, it is 20, so that's actually a lot of electricity per factory. So that's 1 for every 2.5 explosive factory. Is that everything that I need that has electrification in it right now? Electric railways radios will, but we don't have those researched yet. And I'm actually delaying... Well, no, those actually come up in 28 months. Those come after Trenchworks. Yeah, that's a little bit of a delay. So we'll have to come back for those. We won't do those in the first pass. Okay, so now we can start going territory by territory. So first, Jiangxi. Default link, this starts by population. So this is the biggest territory we currently have in China. I think it starts out as the biggest one at the beginning of the game. So we've got a 387. So we'll say... Make sure I know which one this is on my list here. 387 urban centers. I then have... do I have any tobacco plantations here? No. So we can ignore the tobacco plantations. So zilch of that. Lumber camps. We have 15 lumber camps. Now, I suppose the urban centers may not actually be fully employed. Yeah, they're about half employed. We're going to be a little over-investing in power for that reason, but it is also consumer good, which we're not going to count for the consumer demand. Hopefully that does not bite us too much in the butt. And then for the textile mills, that's 74. And explosives, at 76. So now I can pull up a calculator. Sorry, it's not going to be an on-screen calculator. I'm going to use the magic that is called a phone for this. So 387 divided by 16. Okay, we're going to have 24 power plants for that. The lumber camp's going to like 1.5. The textile mills, it's going to want just under 15. And then the explosive factories are going to want about 30. Say 30.4. So 24 plus 2 plus 15 plus 30. So we want a total of 71 power plants here. Then we come down to the bottom and say, hey, we want 71 power plants. The private queue has actually already gone ahead and built one. We know they're underestimating the soon-to-be massive demand here. We want 71. So next state, South Anhui. Is a big state, so there's 392 urban centers. Anhui, 392 urban centers. Do we have any tobacco plantations here? We may have tobacco plantations some places. We do. Here we actually have quite a few, 250. So that's actually going to require quite a bit of electricity for it. Do I have any lumber camps? Of course I have lumber camps. I've got 14 here. The textile mills got 54. And then the explosives factory, we have no explosive factory. So now we can start doing the math. So textile mills is going to be 10, because 250 divided by 25 is 10. 392, we're going to divide by like 16 to get a rough estimate. It's going to be like 24 and a half. The lumber camps, we've got 14, so that's going to be 1.4. It looks like we can definitely do the round up here and we shouldn't have a problem. And then 54 divided by 5 for the textile mills, so 10.8. So yeah, we should basically do something like 10 plus times. Let's see if we can type in the calculator right here. 25 plus 1 plus 11. Say, for this location, we're going to want 47 power plants. Anon, okay. So, starting off at the beginning, do we have any tobacco plantations? No. Urban centers, even more here. 725. Although, again, it's probably not up to full. Although, surprisingly about half employed, which is more than I was expecting. This is, again, due to the cheap price of services and transport. So we may see it unemployed less. We're going to go with the 725 anyway. Lumber camps. We've got 11 here. This is Henan. And then textile mills. There are no textile mills here. And no explosives factories. So 725 divided by 16. 45.3. And then the lumber camps are going to be like 1.1. So we'll just say that that is 46. We'll actually round down on that one, because I think the urban centers are going to under-require. Okay. Next is... I'm going to say Qing here. Chongqing. And do we have any tobacco plantations here? No. How many urban centers do I have here? 345? Lumber camps. 9. Textile mills. 70. Explosives factories. Zilch. So 345 divided by 16. We'll say we need 21.5 for the urban centers. The lumber camps are going to need 0.9, and the textile mills are going to require 15. So I'm going to say we're going to round up here, so it's 22 plus 1 plus 14. Typed in the calculator wrong. 22 plus 1 plus 14. 37. Okay. Next one. Shouju. Suzhou. Hopefully people do not get too offended by my terrible pronunciations of Chinese locations. No tobacco plantations. Again, I don't think we have a lot of tobacco plantations. I was actually surprised to see the 250 in the one location. Urban centers. We have 248 here. And logging camps. We have 5. Textile mills, we have 0. And explosive factories, we have 0. So 248 divided by 16 is 15.5. And then it'll be 0.5 as well for the lumber camp. So that's going to come up to a total of 16. Next state. Next state is Beijing. You can imagine that Beijing may, in fact, need quite a bit of electrification. Has no tobacco plants, or plantations, so we scratch that box. It's got 2 logging camps. It doesn't have much logging camps. It, in fact, has no textile mills. No explosives factories. So unless it's got a lot of urban centers, it's probably going to need very little electrification. 387. So 24 0.1 and technically 0.2 for the lumber. So we'll give it 25. We'll say we'll round it up to 25. It's probably a situation where it'd probably be worth rounding down, but we'll round it up to 25. Oops. Shanxi. Okay. Once again, no tobacco plantations. Scratch that category. Lumber camps. 7. Textile explosives. Zilch on either of those. 213 urban centers. So we want like 13.3 for the urban centers and 0.7 for the lumber camps. So we'll say that sums up to 14. Okay. Fujian. Next. Again, no tobacco plantations. Again, I was somewhat surprised of the 250. Although, seeing the 250, I'm surprised that we don't have small amounts elsewhere. Seems like there was that one region that they're like, yeah, we want tobacco plantations here, and they just left the other places alone. Lumber camps, we got 16. So we know this place deserves at least 1 power plant. This place has textile mills. 53. It has no explosives. Has 236 urban centers. So we're gonna want like 14 3/4 for the urban center. Long camps are gonna be like 1.6. The textile mills are gonna be 10 3/5. Okay, so we'll say, well, that's like 15 plus 1 plus 11, so 27. And again, these are numbers that may vary in your save. I'm just kind of showing you the process I go through. Because I'm going to be streaming this live to Twitch either way. So if you're watching this on YouTube, sorry, we got to go through this process. This is the process of electrification when you're trying to do everything at once. Which isn't always the smart way to do that. Smaller countries, you probably do it state, or you probably still do it state by state, but you don't have as many states to go through. Nanjing has no tobacco plantations. 5 lumber camps. 44 textile mills. 0 explosives. And 181 urban centers. So the urban centers are going to want like 11.3 power plants. Lumber camp's going to like a half a power plant. And then the textile mills are going to want like 8 and an 8, or 8.8 lumber power plants. So we'll say 12 plus 9 is 21. Okay. Next is Henan. Henan has no tobacco plantations. 18 lumber camps. No tobacco, or no textile or explosives. And 208 urban centers. So 13 and 1.8. So we're going to say that's about 15 power plants. Guangxi. Has 0 tobacco. Has 9 lumber camps. Has 62, probably 63 by the time we get the generators here, but we'll say 62. 62 textile mills, no explosives factories, and 226 urban centers. So 14.1 power plants for the urban centers, 0.9 for the logging, and then 62, it's going to be like 12.4 for the textile mills. So we'll say 17. 17 rounding down. Power plants wanted here. Sichuan. Here we've got no tobacco. No, we do have here. We in fact have 50 here. Tobacco plantations. I was about to say none. In fact, it's going to be soon 73, but we'll say 50 for them to keep the math simple. Plus, we're probably getting enough. The tobacco isn't super dense, and the urban centers are not going to be full. 23 logging camps. No textile mills, no explosives. Urban centers are 186. So that's going to be 2 from the tobacco plantations. 11.6 from the urban centers, and 2.3 from the lumber camps. So we'll say that's 2 plus 12 plus 2, so it's 16. Next. Sean has 0 tobacco. 6 logging camps. 89 textile mills. And 163 urban centers. No explosive factories. So 10.1, 10.2-ish on the urban centers, 0.6 on the logging camp, and then 89 is 17.8 on textile mills. So basically 11 plus 1 plus 17, let's say. 20. Doing some creative adding of the remainders there to get up to 29. Okay, after Shan is Western Hubei. Western Hu has no tobacco plantations. 9 logging camps. No textile, no explosive. 147 urban centers. So, like 9.1, 9.2, and 0.9 for the logging camp. We'll just say that is 10. At Western Hubei. Jiangsu. 0 tobacco plantations, 8 logging camps, we'll say 20 textile mills. Textile mills are pretty dense, so I don't want to underestimate them. No explosives factories. And 124 urban centers. So 7 3/4 for the urban centers, 0.8 for the logging camps, and that's going to be 4 for the textile mills. So like 8 plus 1 plus 4, 13. Okay. Southern Jilin. So Southern Jilin has no capacity to even have tobacco plantations. 25 logging camps. And zilch for textile mills and explosives factories. 262 urban centers, though. So that's 16.4 for the urban centers, and then 2.5 for the logging camps. So we'll say 19 power plants. Okay, Northern Ennui. So we've already got the south. Saw that one earlier. This one's north. Has zilch for tobacco plantations. 6 for logging camps. No textile or explosives. And only 99 urban centers. So as we get through the list, they're going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. That's fine. So we're going to want like 6.1 for the urban centers and 0.6 for the logging camp. So we're just going to say that is 7. 7 power plants here. There's actually already one here. Next, Hubei. Which starts off with zilch for the tobacco, 9 for the logging camps. This one has explosives, but no textile. Has 263 explosives. I knew someplace was making all the explosives. And then 201 urban centers. We're going to want 105 power plants because of all the explosives. All the explosives. So 12.5 plus 0.9. It's 105.2. We'll round. In that case, I'm actually going to round that one down. 118 power plants for when we turn those explosive plants on. Okay. Ran out of space on that side of the sheet. Xeon. Next. I gotta copy off for some of the math from the other side. So it's Tobacco plantations is the 1 to 25. Incentives is 1 over 16. Lumber camps are 1 to 10. Textile mills are 1 to 5. And explosive factories are 1 to 2.5. And here, do we have any tobacco? No. So, scratch tobacco. Lumber camps, we got 9. No explosives, no textile mills. Urban centers, 104. So, 6.5 for the textile mills and 0.9 for the lumber camps. So we're going to just say, we'll just say 7. We're going to round down the urban centers there. Next one. Not even going to attempt to pronounce that one. Probably like Zhejiang. I contradict myself. Not 0 tobacco plantations, about 150, we'll say. Lumber camps, 20. Textile mills, 24. Explosive factories are zilch. Urban centers, 137. So we're gonna want like 6 for the tobacco plantations, 8.5 for the urban centers, 2 for the lumber camps, 5, technically a little under 5 for the textile mills. So 6 plus. We'll round the urban centers down to 8. 6, 8 plus 2 plus 5, 21. Okay, next state. Eastern Guangdong. Eastern Guan has zilch for the tobacco plantations right now. 11 lumber camps. Zilch for textile mills and explosives factories, and 142 urban centers. So 8.8 for the urban centers and 1.1 for the lumber camps. We'll just say that is 10. Technically is like 9.9. Close enough to 10. Okay, tobacco plantations, zilch. Lumber camps, 8. Textile mills or explosive factories, yes, 50 textile mills. Zilch on the explosives factories, 99 urban centers. So 6.1, 6.2 for the urban centers, 0.8 for the lumber camps, and 10 for the textile mills. So that's about 17 power plants. Yunnan has zilch for tobacco plantations, 17 for the logging camps, no tobacco or no textile or explosives. Although it has munitions plants, so it's a little bit unusual, but it doesn't have explosives. 52 urban centers. So we're gonna want like 3.25 for the urban center, and 1.7 for a logging camp. So we'll just say that is 5 that we want there. Gansu. As zilch for tobacco plantations. 5 for the logging camp. No factories. 24 urban centers. So that's like 1.5 for the urban center and 0.5 for the logging camp. So it only wants like 2 power plants. We'll give it 2 power plants. Yeah, it'll probably actually want more than that just for the civilian population. Civilians will probably want more than that. Well, they don't really want it now, so we won't worry too much about it. Next one. No tobacco plantations. 26 logging camps. Has factories, but no textile or explosives. 53 urban centers. So, like 3.3 power plants for urban center and 2.6 for the logging camps. So we'll just say around 6. Next is Southern Hell. No tobacco plantations. 34 logging camps. 0 factories. And 28 urban centers. Okay, so we'll say that wants about 5 power plants. Next, Shenjing. Has how many tobacco plants? None. Still has all its original arable land. Has 2 logging camps. And has no textile mills, no explosive factories, 29 urban. So yeah, we're just going to say that place needs 2 power plants. Next, Formosa, also known as modern-day Taiwan. Has no tobacco plantations. 7 logging camps. 0 of the appropriate factories to be electrified. 23 urban centers. So it's probably going to warrant having 2 power plants as well. And then we've got this location for Ghana, which has no tobacco. We can, in fact, have no tobacco, so we never need to worry about tobacco there. 5 logging camps. 0 factories. 22 urban centers. So yeah, we're going to do the round up to 2 again. That's probably one that's getting real close to only wanting 1, but we're going to give it 2. Inner Mongolia. Has no tobacco and can in fact have no tobacco. 6 logging camps. No factories. And 26 urban centers. Once again, I think we're just going to give it 2 power plants. I'll move on to the next one. And these are places with millions of people, so they may, and we still need to check them because they may actually warrant having stuff. No tobacco. Does have a decent number of logging camps here at Northern Jill. North Jillian. No tobacco, 20 logging camps. No tobacco, no explosive, or no tobacco, no textile mills, no explosives, 32 urban centers. So this actually warrants 4 power plants. It also already has one. Durgs Garia? Probably pronouncing that wrong. No tobacco. No lumber camps. No textiles. 20 explosives and 37 urban centers. So we're going to say that's like 2 for the urban center, and then it's actually 8 for the explosives factories for a total of 10. Northern Hell. No tobacco. I don't think South had tobacco either. 25 long camps. It's probably up near the Russian border. And none of the appropriate factories for 19 urban centers. So it's going to want like 1 and something and 2.5, so total 4 power plants. Kabul. Has probably no tobacco. In fact, have no tobacco, so don't need to worry about that there. 4 logging camps. And none of the appropriate factories. 8 urban centers. So, yeah, you're going to get... This is going to be the first place we're just going to be like, yeah, you get something for power plants, but you just get one. You get 1 power plant. Urga. Urga gets no tobacco. 4 lumber camps, so it's going to want a power plant at least. In fact, when we get to radios, it's going to want some of the electric industries, but that doesn't apply right now. And 16 urban. So I think we're actually going to give it 2 power plants. Should probably be more than it needs, but 1 might be a little short. Shanghai. No tobacco. 6 lumber camps. None of the appropriate factories. 8 urban centers. So we're going to give you 1 power plant. You have 1 power plant. So this is going to be the first place we just go ahead and say, you know what? You've got your power plants. So electrify. Okay. Illy. That's no tobacco. 4 logging camps. No factories. 13 urban centers. Yep, I think it only wants 1 power plant. It has 1 power plant. So we're just going to turn this stuff on. Xenia. Has no tobacco. 6 lumber mills. None of the appropriate factories. And 11 urban centers. This may be a place that warrants having 2 power plants. It currently has 0. We'll give it 2. Move on to the next one. Bazaar has no tobacco. 4 lumber mills. None of the appropriate factories, and 13 urban centers. So I could probably get away with 1. We'll give it the 1. Alt I. Has probably no tobacco. Correct. 18 logging camps. So we're gonna want at least 1, or actually probably gonna want 2 power plants here. None of the appropriate factories, 12 urban centers. I think we actually go as high as 3 here. And it probably has enough I can electrify something. Let's electrify the urban center to start with. Okay, Tamarim. No tobacco. None of the appropriate factories. Oh, it doesn't even have a resource sector. This is how terrible the resources are here. No resource sector, so it's got no logging camps. And has 4 urban centers. I'm not even sure that place really warrants even having an electric or power plant, but we're going to give it 1 to power up the urban centers. Southern Turkestan. Has no tobacco plantations. Has plantations, but no tobacco plantations. 6 lumber camps. None of the appropriate factories, and 6 urban centers. So we're just going to give it 1 power plant. Okay, I need a new piece of paper. Filled up the piece of paper. Next piece of paper. So I need to recopy my notes so I don't screw up. So, tobacco plantations are 1/25. Urban centers are 1/16. Logging camps are 1/10. Textile mills are 1/5. Explosive factories are 1 per 2.5. And we're now on Quetta. Quetta has no tobacco. 2 lumber camps. None of the important factories. And 2 urban centers, so it's going to get a grand total of 1 power plant. And to be fair, we're going to give everything at least a power plant. So, it got the minimum. Here, Listai has no tobacco, 5 lumber camps, 0 factories, 9 urban centers. So again, we're only going to give it 1 power plant. It already has that power plant, so we electrify it. And showing a power shortage, that's because the power plant hasn't. We only just subsidize the power plants. The power plant isn't full. Tajikistan. I recognize this country from Terra Invicta. We got no tobacco plantations. We got 1 logging camp. We got no factories of any note, and 4 urban centers. So it gets the 1 power plant. Tuva has a power plant, but no tobacco plantations. 14 lumber camps. So it is in fact going to need another power plant. 5 urban centers. Zilch on the factories. So we actually probably want 2 power plants here, although just barely. So we can probably do the electrification, even though we don't have the second power plant. We are just going to queue it up, however, because it's going to be almost in shortage with the power plant hired up to full. We went a little bit closer to 1-to-1. Alexa has no tobacco, no lumber, no factories, and 2 urban centers. So it's going to get the 1 power plant. Serdia has no tobacco, 1 lumber camp, 2 urban centers, and no factories. So again, it gets the good old 1 power plant. Laos, our smallest state, I think has no tobacco plantations. Could have them, doesn't have any. Logging camp has 1. Textile mills doesn't even have an urban center, so it's gonna get 1 power plant because we need that to turn the logging camp on to the other PM. But that's all it's gonna get. And now we get to the unincorporated states. We got some pretty big unincorporated states like Pash here. 3 million people. Pash has no tobacco. Has, or will have, because I'm going to give it the remainder logging camps, will have 6 logging camps. Give it the remaining landmines while we're thinking about it as well. Has a textile mill. Has no explosives. Oh no, has 1 explosive. Has 14 urban centers. So that's like 1 divided by 2.5. 2.4. 0.2. 0.6 and... Okay, so yeah, we're looking for at least 2 here. 2 power plants here. It currently has 1. We'll just queue the other one up, and I'll just turn the power plant stuff on. Industries will sort of grumble in the meantime. Okay. So we've powered it up. Those might not have all been filled up, so that'll be fine. Sind is next. Again, 2 million people. Has a textile mill. Has no explosives. 15 urban centers. It's going to have 3 logging camps. And it probably has no tobacco fields. I'm wrong, it has 3 tobacco fields, although that's a routing error for our math purposes. So we're going to give it 2. It's 2 power plants. Has no power plants, it's going to have 2. Harat. Has no tobacco. No wood. 1 textile mill. And 4 urban centers. So it gets a whole 1 power plant. And turn the textile mill modifier on. Baluchistan. Balu. Has no tobacco. Will have 1 log camp. Has 2 textile mills. No explosives. 8 urban centers. Yep, so 1 power plant. Aurora land. Has no capacity for tobacco. Capacity for 2 logging camps, which we're going to queue up. And none of the factories. And zilch on the urban centers. So we're going to give it the obligatory 1 power plant. Gabon has no tobacco. 7 log camps, which we are going to get queued up and building. No factories. And 3 urban centers, so we'll give it the obligatory 1 power plant. Eastern New Guinea has no tobacco, is going to get the 6 lung camps, has no factories, has 5 urban centers, so it's going to get the obligatory 1 power plant. Here, no tobacco, 4 lung camps. Oops. No urban centers, so it gets the obligatory 1 power plant. Congo has no tobacco. We'll have 6 logging camps. So 1 power plant. Kashmir, no tobacco. 2 logging camps. No textiles, no explosives. So 1 power plant. Western New Guinea. Not to be confused with Eastern New Guinea, which has no tobacco, no logging camps, so it's so tiny. Has 1 urban center. We'll give it a power plant. This is our smallest place. It'll get a power plant. Okay, so that is all the math we need to do for electrification. And now you look at the massive construction queue. Time to unpause the game and move through the construction queue. And yes, it took, as I'm looking at the recording timer, it took 56, 57 minutes to do all that math. So I'll try to get like 5 minutes of actual time passage here. Before we go ahead and bring this part to a close. But yeah, that is electrification. That is the pain that kind of exists in this game since they made electricity a local good. So if anyone's at Paradox and seeing that like that looks like that's too much work, yeah, that's probably a bit too much work. At least that's the only industry where I'm like straight up, I gotta go through this process for. The other local goods are not too bad because they're consumer goods. You can short the consumer goods. Okay, the consumers don't like it. You can live with that. Civil war in one of our subjects. So we mobilize far more troops than we need to deal with the problem and throw them at the problem. Go deal with that problem. And we're going to watch the power plant sort of build up, because as they build, we want to enable electrification state by state. So we're almost done with building everything in the first state. Building the power plants in the first state. We're gonna an event of some sort. Raise an expedition. Okay, so we just got a bunch of infamy, because of course we did. Okay, the first state is electrified. So, Jiangxi. Everything has been built here, so we should turn the electrification on. So we electrify the saws. We don't have the tobacco here. And then I think this was a place we had... Oh, no explosives here? Yeah, no explosives here. Oh no, there was explosives here. Let me see if I can find explosives. So, electric sawing machines. And... I screwed up and thought the fertilizer plants were the explosives. Whoops. Built too much power here then. Because the fertilizer doesn't need explosives. Or it doesn't need power. Explosives do. Oh, well, we're subsidizing about power, a lot of power we don't need. It'll be fine. So, you've been done. Fertilizer plant doesn't do anything. Yeah. Electronics plant doesn't. Is the ownership building. You've been electrified. We haven't unlocked the electrification for you yet. Let's film. We did you, or, no, yeah. We did you, yes. No tobacco. Okay, that's the first state done. There's the second state done. So, Southern Anhui has textile mills. Electrified urban center, I think it's electrified. It only just finished, they haven't hired up yet, that's why it looks bad. Logging camps that get electrified. Oh, and here was the place where we had the electric rollers. Okay, now we wait for the ones in Henan to build. I think Henan is one of our bigger places, 47. It's not complaining. Royalists. Royalists are moving to revolt. We'll see if they revolt in time. So I'll have to take a look every once in a while to make sure we don't have the revolt going off. Okay. Henan and Chongqing have completed, so Henan first. Long camp. Electrify. And urban centers, so we have a lot of urban centers here. Okay. Yeah. Next is you. Urban center. And textile mill. And logging camp. And again, they only just built, so it's going to take a little while for them to hire up. And the next would be Beijing. So it's like another week. We'll see if Beijing's done in a week. We're all the way down to Nanjing at the first page. So Beijing, Shaanxi, Fujian have all finished. Should be electrified. Okay, so that's Beijing. Beijing was just the 2. Shaanxi was again urban center. And logging camp. And then what, we were on Nanjing, so Fujian as well. Center. And logging camp. Okay, see how far it goes in another week. Nope, not quite all the Nanjing places done yet. Okay, that was Nanjing. Nanjing had urban centers, logging camps, and a textile mill. Electrify. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna run a little bit long here because we did a big long period where we really weren't. Well, we were doing math. We were playing the game, but we weren't cycling any time. Okay, so there's Hunan. Hunan had the 3 as well to electrify. Or am I... No, just the 2 to electrify. Sorry. Wrong row on the table here in the graph paper. One more week. Okay. Guangxi. And the 3 industries, so textile, urban, and logging. Okay, so we're all the way down to Hubei, so Sichuan. Add logging, an urban center. Shandong. Textiles, urban center, and logging. That's high bay, so quite a way down. So we finished quite a few at the same time. Alright, wait. High bay. Yeah. So here. Electrify. Electrify. Did I forget to do Western Guangdong? Yes, I completely forgot a state. Whoops. Skipped over a state by accident, because I had a Western next to a Western. So... I'm gonna want 0.8. Come back to you. At the end. Unless it... No, we definitely did not do this one. So, 8 logging camps. No tobacco. Urban centers 274. And... textile mills 52. No explosives. So it's going to be like 11 or 10 for the textile, 1 for the log camp. Where did I put my calculator? Under the graphic paper. 17 for the urban centers. So it's going to be like a total of 28. Which, you know, doesn't have. Okay, where were we? We were High Bay. So Eastern Hubei. I'm guessing the list rearranged on me slightly. I'm guessing, well, because the list is in population order, so if we had some migration over the couple days, we may have moved it around a bit and be confusing myself that way. Or I just skipped a section, which would be real problematic. Although, Eastern Hubei, I've queued a power plant up here. So it's apparently not been skipped. Although, no, I definitely skipped it. Because I just queued 1 power plant up. It's more than 1 power plant. Okay. I must have accidentally skipped a section. So 8 again. No tobacco again. 161 explosive factories. That's one of the places where explosive factories are, so that's actually a big, important difference there. 179. So it's going to be like 11. Another 1. $64. So plus 1 plus, we'll say 65, so it's like 77 power plants there. So I definitely skipped this one. Shoe has been built, so this one wasn't accidentally skipped. Let's turn the electrification on here. So then Jillian, Okay, hasn't hired up, but has built. So we'll do the electrification. In the north ennui has built up. Electrify the logging camp and the urban center. And okay, before I play more, we're already like 12 minutes over for this bit. The actual construction of the electrification and doing the transition will be what we continue in the next one. You've got the entire construction queue filled, plus 198 more of our public queue, and then that should keep construction going for quite a while. All the while, this should be causing a pretty nice GDP line up, as it raises both coal and engine demand. We will probably need to go build more coal. It will also supply lumber, which means if I do enough micro as we're doing it, we can do more transition to hardwood. So I hope everyone has been enjoying. Sorry if you don't sort of like the math tediousness of this episode. It's a thing you got to do when you're doing electrification. Usually I do it industry by industry, not 5 industries at once. But I decided to do 5 industries at once. I think we got most of the states, so it's just a process of doing the electrification as we get through the states. Obviously, I missed 2 states going through the first time. So I hope everyone has been enjoying. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, I need a new cup of tea, because that took a lot of talking and a lot of math, and I think I need some caffeine for the next part. So until the next part, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.